All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we're going to talk about Haason Reddick of the New York Jets requesting a trade and the Jets' response to it. So, Haason Reddick was brought in, got him from the Eagles. They traded with the Eagles to get him. And the Jets have really kind of messed up this whole situation because now he wants to be traded. And I don't think we've ever seen this where you have a guy that is traded and now he wants to be now he requests a trade from the team that traded for him to go somewhere else because he wants his contract as well. I know we talked about Brandon Ayuk and his contract, but now Haason Reddick is looking for that contract, and he requested a trade from the Jets because they just have not been able to come to an agreement on a new contract. But the Jets have refused to trade Reddick, stating he's expected to report to camp and will be fined if he does not comply. Reddick has held out of training camp since it began. He's been dissatisfied with his current contract, which is set to pay him a little over $14 million in the final year. Reddick was acquired from the Eagles in exchange for a conditional 2026 third-round pick, as the Eagles, were trying to move him because, he wanted a new contract. And the Jets were looked at as the team that was going to give him that contract when they traded for him, but it just has not happened. And, they looking at him as the replacement to Bryce Huff, who left in free agency to go play for the Eagles. And it just hasn't been good. And, the longer he holds out, he's going to be getting fined. But it's just a mess. And, the Jets look a little ridiculous right now because they traded for him, and now all this is happening. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't come to an agreement and this all gets squared away and we move forward with that. But it's just another thing that has the Jets in the news for the wrong reasons. And look, you guys know me, and I, have been optimistic about the Jets, and I feel like if everything goes right for them this year, they could do some special things with the talent that they have on this team. They really can. But it's hard when you got things like this that come up and you're just like, well, that's another distraction. And it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that this stuff has to happen. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But, even if Haason Reddick is out, if they end up moving off of him after getting him, is it the worst thing in the world? No, because the Jets still have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball with with Quincy and Quinnen Williams. You got Sauce Gardner. They still have guys on this defense. But they brought in Haason Reddick to be a difference maker, and now who knows what's going to happen. Like I said, it's just another thing that keeps the Jets in the news for the wrong reasons. But they feel like they're going to be able to get this done and they can move forward. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. It's just, you just want this to get to a resolution. And it's not, now, this situation with Haason Reddick is not as popular as the Brandon Ayuk stuff. But, this Haason Reddick situation has been going on for a while, too. And I think the Jets thought that this was going to be handled a lot sooner, but it just hasn't. And they look silly right now. So, we're we're less than a month away from the season starting. We're going into week 2 of the preseason. The season is slowly but surely approaching. It's getting real now. And they play on September 9th, the Jets. That'll be against the 49ers. So, I just talked about Brandon Ayuk, but, we got. Are we going to see both of those guys on the field? Because we will, if they both stay with these teams that they're on right now currently, Ayuk staying with the Niners, Reddick staying with the Jets, we'll see them on the field at the same time together. But right now, it looks like we're not going to see either of them on the field together for that September 9th game. But it's just the latest headline for the Jets that, Now, they play it off, but how do they feel behind closed doors? We'll never see that. But they want to get this done. And we still got some time before the season starts, but we are rapidly approaching to the start of the season. And, now he's requesting a trade. But the Jets are, they said they're not trading him. But, right now I bring back the 49ers and Ayuk. Well, the 49ers said they're not trading Brandon Ayuk, but, supposedly we got a deal in place with the Steelers, so he could be traded. So, like I said, though, even if they don't reach an agreement with Haason Reddick and he ends up being traded, I mean, the Jets' defense is still very good. So I don't think this is going to be... But now you lost Haason Reddick's, or you lost Bryce Huff's replacement. So, but, looking down the line, Jermaine Johnson, who they drafted a couple years ago, they're looking for him to take that next step. You got the Williams brothers, Quincy Williams and Quinnen Williams, and then, of course, you got Sauce Gardner, like I said, in the secondary. This defense still has a ton of talent. But, losing Haason Reddick, that can hurt. That might hurt a little bit. So I'm not really worried about the Jets defense that much if they lose him, but, that was supposed to be the replacement. So, we'll just have to keep an eye on it. But, just more news that the Jets are making that's just not what you want to hear. But like I said, I still kind of remain optimistic with the Jets throughout this whole offseason. From even with Aaron Rodgers, missing training camp and now the Reddick stuff. I just think this team has too much talent. That if even if they're healthy, like they should be good. But they do have ifs. And there's still some questions that I have. I want to see how this offensive line plays. How does Aaron Rodgers hold up coming back from his injury and now him being 40? How is that all going to be? Now, if Rodgers is healthy and, the offensive line protects him, this team's going to be good. But, if he's getting bull rushed on every play, it's not going to work. Now, I'm hoping that we get one more solid year out of him. Because, I've said it all along. I don't want him to go out like he did last year. I want him to go out there, have a productive season, and, maybe the Jets go on a run. And, maybe he goes out in a shootout against Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But I want to see him go out on a higher note. I don't want to see him go out like he did last year. Because this is one of the greatest quarterbacks that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Probably the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my lifetime. Just in terms of pure talent. Because I know there's other quarterbacks that have accomplished more. I get it. Because I've grown up to be a fan of his for a long time. And, it's just another guy that's on his way to, being out. Another quarterback from the 2010s, on his way out soon, and it's unfortunate, and it's just sad. So, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's just I just want to see how he does with the Jets. Can we see that? Can we see a little bit of it? We did see a little bit of it with the preseason game against the Giants last year, but I want to see him play a full game, be able to play a full season, so we could be like, all right, was this worth it or not for the Jets? Because right now, people are going to say, yeah, this wasn't worth it. Now, if it doesn't pan out this year, yeah, it's definitely not going to be worth it. But, at the time that they made that trade, he was. I know the last year in Green Bay was a down year, but the previous year went back to back. Previous 2 years, he went back to back MVPs. So you do that. It's just we did not expect him to get hurt 4 plays into the season. Just did not expect that. But that's what happened. So, but yeah, but he seems to be all the way back from the injury, which is good. Now the Jets got to focus on Haason Reddick and getting this under control. So, yeah, we will see. We'll see how it goes. If they can get this done, the Jets said they're not going to trade him. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. But yeah, let me know what you guys think though about the Haason Reddick situation. Do you think that he is going to get traded again? Because they would look even more ridiculous if they ended up trading him. But yeah, let me know if you think he's going to get traded again or not. Let me know in the comments if you believe that or not. So, yeah, we're going to take our final break of the show now. And then when we come back, I will do my wide receiver rankings for the teams in the NFC West. And again, I do want to emphasize that this is the wide receivers as a whole, as a group, not as individual wide receivers. Because I think that's kind of been getting a little... I think some people have been getting a little confused by that. So I know there's been some comments. I know on one of my shorts, I got a comment, and I'm like, well, I'm talking about the groups, but it just seems like that's getting lost in translation. And I'll explain more of that when we come back from break. But it's just, that is I know that's I've gotten comments about that, so I just wanted to bring that up. So, but yeah, when we come back from our final break of the show, we will get into ranking the wide receivers in the NFC West, wide receiver groups. So for one final time today, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.